I found the cheat code to the perfect millefeuille, but it's very expensive, and let me show you why it's so good. So this is a perforated puff pastry tray. Now essentially what it is two trays that slot together, but they are set to a fixed height, and that means that when you bake your puff pastry in it, it can only rise to the fixed height of the tray, so you get an even thickness and an even bake every single time. Now I've shown you how to make puff pastry before, so I'm not going to repeat that, just head to my website, but I've got my homemade puff pastry and I've lined my tray with a perforated silicone mat. We place a second perforated mat on top and then we just slide the tray together. We're going to chill this in the freezer just for about 20 minutes. Once it's chilled, we're going to put it in the oven to bake. It's going to take about 75 minutes. Now I would recommend putting a sheet of parchment on the bottom just to stop the butter from dripping all over the bottom of your oven. We're going to fill this with a delicious diplomat cream. So I've got milk and vanilla, which is going to bring it to a gentle simmer. And in the meantime, we whisk together egg yolks, sugar, corn flour, and salt. You only need to whisk it together for about 20 seconds. Once that cream is hot, we're just going to slowly pour it over those egg yolks, making sure we're just tempering it so it doesn't scramble. Get it back into your pan. We're going to whisk it constantly until it starts to bubble. Once it does bubble, continue to cook it for 1 minute. It should be nice and thick. We're going to pass that mixture through a sieve. And finally, we whisk through a little bit of cold butter. Cover it up and get it in the fridge to chill. Now for me, a very important element to the taste here, this is the raspberry coulis. So we've got raspberry puree and frozen raspberries. We're going to gently heat that. Once it's hot, we whisk in our sugar and pectin, and then just bring it to the boil. And then off the heat, we stir in our gelatin. Come on, get that into a tall jug. We're going to chill it in the fridge for an hour. Once it's baked, we just slide back that top lid and then we just peel back this perforated mat and have a look at that puff pastry. It is so even. Then we're going to caramelize it just to add a little bit of color, a little bit of sweetness, so we dust an even layer of icing sugar all over the top. We increase the oven temperature and just put it in very briefly, okay? Keep an eye on it because otherwise it's gonna burn. Once that sugar has caramelized, you'll see the puff pastry has a nice shine on top. We're gonna let that cool completely. Look at that. Wow. Now we've got to finish that diplomat cream. So I've got some whipped cream here. This is just double heavy cream whipped to a medium stiff beak, and I've whisked up my creme patisserie just to loosen it. We're going to whisk these two together until we have a medium stiff beak to our diplomat cream. Now to fill this, we're going to do a little spiral piping motion with that diplomat cream. And once you have piped it, the best little secret is to actually put it in the freezer for 30 minutes. It will just stop it from collapsing when you go to assemble. We fill it with the raspberry coulis and then we stack it on top of each other and it's ready to serve. Now, although this cost me £89, it was worth every single penny. And in my experience, I found it delivers much more consistent and superior results to the traditional weighted tray method. When I'd used that method before, I never knew how much weight to put on. It would be uneven, slightly more cooked in one edge than the other. This takes out all the guesswork and just delivers those consistent results every single time. If you want to recreate that recipe, just click the link in my bio. I've also got the link for the tray in there so you can make a beautiful raspberry millefeuille every single time. Just forget about whipped caramel. This is whipped butterscotch. It only takes 4 ingredients and it couldn't be easier to make. So this is literally 4 ingredients. I've got butter and then I've got muscovado sugar. You can use any type of brown sugar. And all you do is put that on a medium heat. You cook it down until it's melted and started to bubble. Once it's bubbling like this, we're going to slowly whisk in our cream and then bring it back to the boil. Remove it from the heat and then we're just going to pour it into a separate bowl. And the final step is a good pinch of flaky sea salt. We're going to stir that through. All you have to do now is chill this, ideally about 12 hours. Overnight will be perfect. The next day it will have thickened slightly, but it will still be quite soft. So we're going to use an electric hand whisk or a stand mixer to whisk it to a medium stiff peak. And the great thing about this is it's really stable. So it's beautiful to pipe because it's going to hold its shape. It's not going to split easily and you can use it for a nice rocher. Now that texture is light, it's airy, it's almost like a whipped cream, but with this deep molasses toffee flavor. Now it's sweet, but the salt's gonna rein in that sweetness. So really important to add that salt. I wouldn't use tons of it on dessert because it is so sweet. So just a little bit of decorative piping, maybe on a brownie, but it's very stable, so it's beautiful to pipe. The full recipe is on my website. Just click that link in my bio.
Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, yeah, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in. Okay, drop a song and pop up on your phone like I was YouTube. Connected to the fans without a hand, I did it Bluetooth. The only time I come up short is when they watching YouTube. Spinning with the drill, no wonder why my screws loose. Taking off and I can't stop, I beat them all by landslide. Houdini, I popped out of that box even with hands tied. Big dog like Sandlot, but it's real life, no fantasize. Counting money, a damn lie, my hands clean, no sanitize. rise. Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote? Follow everything I post, never trip about a clone, cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent.
Work smarter, not harder.
This is my Millionaire's chocolate tart. Let me walk you through it. Right? Sweet pastry, soft salted caramel, a chocolate mousse, and then a shiny chocolate glaze on top. We're going to start with this really lovely soft salted caramel. So we've got 2 pounds here. In one, we're going to add glucose, cream, and milk. And in the other, we go glucose and sugar. Heat the cream mixture till the glucose has dissolved and it's steaming. And meanwhile, we cook this to a deep caramel. I'm talking very dark because that's where all the flavor is going to be. Once it looks like this, we're going to deglaze it with that hot cream. We're going to whisk that through and then add in butter and a good pinch of salt and continue to cook it for about a minute. Pass that hot caramel through a sieve. And finally, a quick blend. And let that cool covered at room temperature for about 30 minutes. What I've got here is a tart shell. Now, I've shown you many times how to make tart shells, so I'm not going to go over that again. It's blind baked. And all we do is take our cooled caramel. We're going to pour that into the center and fill up the tart. It should level out so it's nice and even. We're going to get this in the fridge or the freezer just for 30 minutes to set it. Now, while that caramel sets, we're going to get on with the chocolate filling. And this is a chocolate mousse because not enough people are putting chocolate mousses inside their tarts. So we've got chocolate here. We're going to pour over hot cream and milk. Let it sit for a couple of minutes, then just blend it until it's smooth. We're going to transfer that mixture into a bowl. Then we whip our cream. We need to whisk this to a soft peak, no thicker than that. You're looking for this kind of consistency. Then we're going to whisk that in thirds into that chocolate mixture. The chocolate mousse should be pretty loose once you're done whisking it. And we pour that mixture into the tart shell, leaving a very thin gap at the top. Get this into the fridge. We're going to chill it for at least 4 hours. We're going to finish this tart with a shiny chocolate glaze. Now, it is optional. We're going to start with water and cream. We're going to heat that. Then once it's slightly warm, we add in sugar and cocoa powder. Stir it and bring it to a boil. Once it has come to the boil, we're going to pour this into a jug. Now, in that jug is a bit of gelatin and some nappage. Now, you don't have to use nappage, you could just use some apricot jam. Then we give this a quick blend. We're really going to try and avoid adding too many air bubbles here. Then you're left with this nice, shiny chocolate glaze. We'll let this cool for half an hour before we use it on the tart. My mousse has set in my tart. My glaze has cooled for about 30 minutes. And all we're going to do is very carefully pour a thin layer of the glaze into the center of the tart and tip it to the edges. Let that glaze set for about 30 minutes to an hour in the fridge. Then it is ready to serve. And look, I had this beautiful tart. I was ready to slice it. I dropped the slice. I mean, you can hear the devastation in my voice. But anyways, I recovered it and I still ate the slice. Don't worry. I mean, if I do say so myself, a very good tart. Textures, layers, chocolate mousse in a tart is a game changer, right? Very elegant, very clean. Full recipes on my website. Just click that link in my bio and enjoy.